What is up, you guys? It is your boy John here from Puma Plow. How's everybody doing? And welcome back to another On the Farm. Today, guys, is the pumpkin party and a lot more actually as well. So I kind of failed 2 years in a row at filming as much as I wanted to at this party, but I happened to get the drone up for the piñata here in a second. You can't really see it from the air, but it is hanging off of the tractor bucket there. It was a homemade piñata by one of our attendees of the party, and it weighed about 60 pounds when it was full of candy, which is a lot of candy if you think about it. Roughly 60 pounds of candy, obviously. Come on, duh. So normally we string up a rope between the shed and the tractor and hang the piñata from that and let the kids swing at it. But it was so heavy that we had to bring the tractor into the circle of people and hang the piñata right from the tractor bucket. So you can kind of see the orange thing there hanging from the tractor bucket the kids are swinging at. And it was kind of amusing. So, yeah, some of these kids, I guess they play ball. I'm not sure. Some of them really have a good swing. And it's kind of amusing. So we had about 108 people, I believe, total show up to the party. We were expecting about 130 people. And some of them did not show, which is totally fine. It totally happens. And it's pretty well happens every year. And sometimes there's more people that show up the day of that we are not anticipating. But it's always okay. There's plenty of food to go around. Plenty of candy, especially this year with the 60 pounds of candy in this piñata. And there's usually plenty of pumpkins. Now this year was kind of light on the pumpkin crop, and I know we had talked about that quite a bit in the On the Farm series, including the video last week where we went out and showed you guys all of the pumpkins that were in the field still. So we will have video in this video of the aftermath of the party, basically. So here go all the kids running to get their candy, and they were quite happy. There was a lot of candy, and the reason we put everybody in a circle, all the adults kind of sitting in a big circle here, is we do like a little trick-or-treat parade thing where everybody goes around and all the adults hand out like candy and whatnot. So the kids go away with plenty of candy, plenty of candy, more than they could ever, need realistically. So it's really fun having everybody down there. Like I said, about 108 people showed up, and it's a good number. It's a good number. We do only have the one bathroom down there, so 108 people, one bathroom. We make it work. Sometimes there's lines, but we make it work. So you can see on the other side of the shed there, we have all of our tables and chairs. I think we had 14 or 15 round tables with chairs set up over there so everybody could eat and have a place to kind of sit down and take a little break and everything. So it worked out quite well. You can see the 995 there with the 16-foot trailer with straw bales around the outside for our... It's not, to me, okay, it's called a hay ride, but it's really a straw ride. So, but we'll just call it a hay ride because that's what it's known as. And then you guys can see in the bottom left corner of this screen here, that is our Power King 1614 with our little carts that we use to pull the kids around the yard with. We used to have a place to go, or we used to go around the one field with the hay ride, but we can't really do that anymore because they work the ground before our party. And it just doesn't work. So here we go, guys. Group shot. Everybody out on the hill for where the house used to be. It's kind of amusing, actually, having everybody out there and getting a little video of everybody. So kind of amusing, kind of amusing. Like I said, about 108 people. Count them all if you want. Find yourself if you want, if you were there. How's it going? So I would say the biggest hit of the party was the drone. Everybody seemed to really enjoy the drone. People were filming the drone when I would bring it into land, actually. Stuff like that. It was very entertaining seeing everybody just kind of like in awe of the drone. So that was very, very intriguing to me and kind of amusing. So, but you can see everybody's just kind of hanging out. This is getting towards the end of the party, so people are getting ready to take off here. Usually after the trick-or-treat, piñata, all that kind of stuff, usually people start heading out, and because it's getting kind of late in the day at this point. So yeah, I think our party runs from like 12 to 5 or something. Something like that. I don't even know. We send out this invite and I never even see the thing. I just know that I need to be there and work a lot. So that is all. And you can see people are amazed with the drone and they want to throw pumpkins at it. Oh, she's going to kill me if she sees that video. Oh, that's kind of amusing. So it actually worked out quite well, guys. The day of the party, they were actually out front. Words are hard. Just remember that. They are out front harvesting the late soybeans. I don't know moisture or yield. I have not talked to them. I still don't even know the yield for the corn behind the farm there. So I'm not totally sure, but it was looking decent yield. And you can see they're kind of crawling out in these soybeans. Pretty good beans, especially for late soybeans. And yes, he is harvesting at quite an angle to how they are planted. With soybeans, it does not matter. You can do that. So got a little bit of footage of him out there harvesting. And you can see he's not even touching the steering wheel. Got that GPS on. Because why not, right? That's how all his rows are so straight and perfect. Yeah, every time now, GPS, you can tell when they're using it because it's just dead on. So obviously right there, he turned it off so he could, steer and clean up the edge of the field here. So kind of amusing. And actually, it was hard for me to fly this at this point because I had a crowd of people around me watching what the drone was seeing. Which, I don't mind showing the people. I don't mind at all. It's actually, like I said earlier, it's really entertaining to me how much the people like the drone. So here's the aftermath, guys. Here is the aftermath. There's, nothing left. Basically, what you guys are seeing that is left, especially coming up, right in here, those are the extra gourds. There were so many gourds that people just didn't want them all, and that's totally fine. We did not mean to grow so many gourds. It just kind of happened, and or you're seeing some half-rotten ones that have problems. But for the most part, we picked up one or two little pumpkins that were left, and that's it. There was just nothing else out there. So I kind of feel bad. I don't know if anybody left without taking one. I don't know because I don't talk to everybody as they're coming and going and everything. But if somebody didn't get a pumpkin, I do feel bad about that. But we had a bad year, and it happens. So it definitely happens. But you can see there's pretty much nothing left. We still have not had a frost. Normally by the end of October, we will at least have gotten one good frost or one decent frost. And usually not even in St. Louis, but out here in the country, we'll get a pretty good frost. And it has not happened yet this year. So if anybody's wondering, the biggest pumpkin that we had that we actually weighed, we do that as a game. And I think it weighed 104 pounds this year, I believe. Yeah, I think it was 104 pounds. So that usually is 150-pound pumpkin, 160-pound pumpkin. So it was down a little bit this year as well. But it happens, guys. It happens. Not a big deal. And they really loved our beets and a few turnips as well. So obviously this is taken after the pumpkin party. We would not do this before the party at all. This would be disgusting, and we would never do this. We are spreading chicken manure. We've had our trailer of chicken manure sitting in the shed for quite some time. Not a full trailer load, about a half trailer load. And it's just been sitting in that shed for quite some time now. And we used to store it outside. We would just dump it into a pile and store it. But chicken manure, when it gets wet, it just turns to something nasty. So you can see this is powdery dry because it's been sitting in the shed in the trailer. And this trailer's plenty heavy. We're not hurting the trailer by having it in there or anything for that long. So we've got our manure spreader. That's the brand that we've tweaked it a little bit. We've added a lot of features to it so we don't have to get on and off the tractor to turn on and off the spreading, because normally you would have to get on and off the trailer or on and off your tractor to adjust the locks on the wheels. If anybody has one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kind of a pain to jump on and off all the time. But our system, they just stay engaged the whole time. We actually lift the whole spreader off of the ground with our electric winch. So that trailer actually used to be a truck of some kind. The rear axle there is the rear axle out of the truck. The front axle is the front axle out of a truck. All the steering and stuff has been welded. A few years ago, this was sitting up at a farm site that my dad's buddy farms. And we're like, hey, what are you doing with that trailer? And he's like, you want it? You can have it. So we're like, sure, why not? So it needed a little bit of work. We put tires on it. That was the biggest thing. Tires would have been fine, but since we were putting, 2,000 pounds of chicken manure in there or something, we decided to go ahead and put tires on, and that would just be good to go then. So, but not a bad trailer for the little bit of money that we have into it. Realistically, just tires, and like we painted the floor inside of it to keep the chicken manure from eating any of it. So, but there you go, guys. Spreading the chicken manure. We did basically the centers of the patch. You can see here, there's kind of a light spot down the center. We really didn't have that much manure. If we were going to spread over, say, all of this, we would need multiple loads. But the cool thing about that newer spreader is it puts down just a fine, like, coating, half an inch thick. It's not bad. It's basically a big drop spreader that you would use for, like, seed or fertilizer in your yard is basically what it is. So we do have an electric winch on there that we put to raise and lower it up. I believe we've done a video on this thing in the past, one of the earlier on the farms. But basically everything orange that you see there and that front set of tires we have added. And that's actually what I'm explaining in this clip, but I decided to go ahead and do all of today's video in voiceover mode just because I can. So it's a really cool, it's all aluminum. The actual newer spreader, we added the wood on top, and like I said, everything orange. So it actually works quite well for something that, a couple rednecks came up with out in the shed. It works quite well. So got to back it in the old hog shed here. Somebody was saying in I think it was the last on the farm video, one of the comments was saying there's a lot of orange in this building. Well, we like orange. We like orange equipment, and we like orange just in general. Because like this thing, we had to decide what color to paint it. So we painted it orange. Why not? Yeah. And you can tell we've taken some of the stuff out of the shed already. Let's see, the two little tractors are no longer in this building. We have taken them over to the big shed where they belong. So after the pumpkin party, everybody's like, oh, everything's done. The party's over. You guys don't have anything to do down there. It's the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. There is so much stuff to do. So much stuff to do after the party. So that day that we were just in that shed right there, actually, they were out working the late soybean ground out here. So there's bean stubble and wheat stubble out here in this ground. And this is kind of a wicked half-breed implement, I guess we'll call it. It has a row of straight coulters across the front. Not like disc blades, but I call them more of a coulter because they're straight on. And then it's got like chisel teeth, but they're not really chisel teeth. They don't go very deep. I think they call this thing more of like a soil conditioner, I believe. And then it's got, several rows of heavy harrow across the back. And it's actually working it up quite well considering how much debris is here. Because those beans were pretty good. The wheat was really good. And there's actually corn stalks in there. If you look real close, you can pick out corn stalks in real life from last year yet that haven't quite rotted up. So kind of interesting piece of equipment. They have used this down here before and seems to work fairly well. But you can see all those heavy harrows on the back. There's actually quite a bit. But it is making the ground boil. Like I said, they're not going super deep. Those coulters in the front there, or disc blades, whatever you want to call them, they're not going very deep at all. A couple inches maybe. They're not working to like plow this ground, or not looking to like plow this ground or anything. They're kind of going just to get that straw mixed in and everything. And if you get it mixed in a little bit, it will start to rot, and that is of course what they want to do with it. So yeah, of course he has the GPS on his JD there, because why not? And that's an 8330, I believe, is what that is, something like that. It's not an R series tractor. Not an R series tractor. So they recently got another big tractor. These guys were only running 2, and the other day I noticed there was 3 of them. So I'm not sure which one's the new one that they got. They don't buy brand new. Usually they'll buy them at like an auction. They release tractors or whatever. That's how they got their other 2 anyway, because you can save a lot of money that way. So it makes a lot of sense actually, guys, to buy used. And they're not like crazy used. They probably have less than 2,000-3,000 hours on them. So they're still fairly decent. But you can see this thing is just making the ground boil. It's actually really cool watching this thing work from above here with the drone. So I was all about flying over this guy. And actually for parts of this day, it was raining. So you can see like the heavy harrow sections in the back are kind of muddy looking. It had already rained, not like a lot, but enough to kind of mess stuff up at this point in the day. So that's why it's looking a little muddy on like his wheels and stuff. So not terrible, but just enough to kind of notice that, hey, that looks really wet, and it's because it rained. So actually for some of the stuff that we did later on in this video yet to come, I was not able to put the drone up like I wanted to film because it was raining. So, but we will get to that here in a minute. So just some cool shots of him out working dirt. Got to get in as much actual farming as possible because there's not going to be much left. Realistically, fall is upon us, and they will be done. All these guys will be done farming before too much longer down there, to be honest. This was late soybean ground, and most of the other dirt has all been worked. Wheat has, of course, been planted for the guys that actually plant wheat, which is not that many anymore, but they're getting real close to just being done for the year. So kind of crazy. It's like, where did this year go? At least to me, that seems like this year has just flown by, and it's kind of crappy that winter's almost upon us here. I know it's like November almost, end of December or end of October here. November's knocking on the door, which means Christmas lights soon, guys. Which means probably show some Christmas light stuff in these on the farm videos, because we do work on some of the stuff down at the farm, so it kind of makes sense to show some of the Christmas light stuff. I have about 15,000 lights for this year, and hope to share it with all of you with some drone shots from the display, actually. So I was trying something different here, and I think it worked. I just need to get a little better at flying. Basically going full speed and just turning him around him. So the drone is just, whistling around him here. I don't know if he could see it, but if he could, at least if I was in the cab of that tractor and I saw a drone just flying around me like this, I would freak out. But I don't think he can even see it. I'm up a little high for him to see it. And obviously I want to stay up high enough where I'm not going to hit him, because that would be bad. I don't want to do that, of course. So probably wouldn't hurt the tractor, but it would hurt my drone. It would probably cost me a lot of money. So let's not do that. That's why, like that one time I let nephew fly it, it was, okay, you stay above 100 feet because there's nothing to hit up there. So here is the wheat after corn, guys. You can see all of the corn stalks and all of the volunteer corn. This volunteer corn seems really bad this year, and I think the biggest reason is we've not had a frost to kill it off yet. So the volunteer corn is getting quite tall. There's some of it that'll probably be knee-high here real soon, and which is crazy. So volunteer corn, if you guys don't know, is after you harvest, words are hard. So after you harvest, the volunteer corn is what does not get collected by the combine. That is what volunteer corn is. So now we're going to break out the old 995, because why not? And I probably should have done this one in actual like voice mode so you could hear the tractor fire up, but that's all right, guys. We will do it again. We need to plow yet this fall, so hoping for an awesome video there. That is all I know. It should be an awesome video to get the plow out. And it's been 2 years since we've plowed the garden. So first things first, though, before we're going to plow, guys, with all of the pumpkin vines that are out there, we really feel like it would be important to disc the garden first. And we reworked our disc last year, so we might as well use the thing. It's got notched disc blades on the front to help cut, and regular straight blades on the back. Regular disc blades, they're not straight, they're still cupped, but they're not notched. The notched blades, very big improvement to the disc, and should really help out chopping, and you'll see here in a second that it might just work quite well. So Dad's trying to adjust the disc angle just a little bit here, and the beauty of the 3-point hitch disc is you just back up, hook up to it, and of course Everything we have is meant to go on the quick hitch, which is the white piece that's kind of in my hand right there. It just makes life so much easier. The only thing that we have two things that will not use the quick hitch. One is our plow, because that is a category 1 plow, and our quick hitch is a category 2. It's just basically a different size. There's also Cat 3, that's huge, but we don't have anything for that. So our Cat 1 plow, so we have to use take the quick hitch off, which weighs 1,000,000 pounds. It's quite heavy, actually. And set it on the ground and flip our arms around. We'll do a video on all that, don't worry. And then the other thing we have is our WW grinder. And we use that for shredding leaves in the fall, which we've not done in a couple years, and we're actually not going to do it this year because we still have plenty. We don't really use much leaf mulch anymore. We used to grind up maybe 500 bags of leaves in a fall. You know, we'd actually drive around town at night and steal them, which is really a weird thing to say, but we would steal bags of leaves, and we know some commercial cutters that would collect them as well. And so we used to do quite a bit of that and make that leaf mulch, but we just didn't use it anymore, so there's no point in us making tons of it because we just don't use it. So here you can see, guys, we're setting the angle of the disc. Just about got it done. We put them pretty well straight to go in the shed because it saves some room and you can put it farther back up against the wall. But for actually disking, we need to adjust them. So in case anybody's wondering, this disc was a Ford Flex disc way back in the day. We have reworked the hitch quite a bit because it was also a Category 1 when we bought it. And we decided to go ahead and change it to a Cat 2 for the quick hitch just to make our life so much easier. So Dad is out here in the pumpkin patch with me. A, to kind of make sure it's working, and B, he is actually going to fire up the deck on that laser here in a minute and help cut some of the lines up, cut some of the tops off. And it does actually help quite a bit to have him out there and mow up a bunch of it, whatever he can. So the disc is actually working. The ground was a little wet because it had rained earlier this day, like I said earlier, for him out working dirt. So it had rained, and it was a little on the wet side. But you guys also have to think, we have a lot of debris here we're trying to disc in. So we've got all the pumpkin vines, some extra pumpkins, gourds, that kind of stuff. And then all the wheat, or all of the, not wheat straw. What is it? What is it called? All the rye straw that we grow. All that rye. So it's actually a lot of debris to try to work in. But we're basically just trying to chop up the pumpkin vines so that when we plow, they don't drag up. Yes, we have coulters on our plow. However, it'll still drag up. So that's basically what this step is all about. Is just chopping it up, not disking too deep, but not disking too shallow. You want to go kind of in between and really disc it up real good. So that is what this is all about right here, trying to keep it level-ish. And actually here in a second I had to adjust the disc a lot more because it was ridging up real bad. And if you don't have your disc set right, you can ruin your garden real fast. Or ruin your field, whatever. It'll ridge up so bad. But yeah, and the advantage to the 3-point hitch disc is you can just back into a corner if you want and drop it and away you go. It's so much nicer than a tow behind, guys. So much nicer than a tow behind. Obviously you wouldn't have a giant 3-point hitch one, but this one's around I think 10, 11, 12 feet, somewhere in there. It was actually bigger than we anticipated when we bought it because we didn't actually see it until after we bought it. So Dad's telling me right there to let the top link out just a little bit, which will let that back row of disc blades, the back two gangs they're called, let them dig in a little bit more so it throws more dirt back to the middle because it was ridging out real hard, leaving a low spot in the middle. So by adjusting that backwards, it'll throw more dirt back in and ensuring a leveler garden after we're done. Because in the past, especially last year, because last year I did actually a lot of this disking in the dark, and this tractor does not have good lights. So I ridged the crap out of this garden last year by accident. And then when we went to plant our rye, I had to do a lot of work with the disc and then the harrow behind it to level the garden back out. If you guys remember from last fall, I spent a lot of time out there with the 995 working that garden over to try to get it back somewhat level. We got it most of the way back. I would say, before we planted our rye. So the theory this year, guys, is we're actually going to obviously disc the garden, because that's what I'm doing right now. And, oh, this is the part where I was talking about I wanted to put the drone up, but I couldn't, because it was raining on and off while I was disking. Not a lot of rain, but enough where I'm like, I'm not taking my expensive drone out and gonna ruin it, you know. Plus, I'm the one on the tractor. It's kind of hard to drone and drive. I've done it before. It's not great. So when plowing times come, Dad will be the one on the plow for at least some of it, and I'll let him, or not let him drive. Usually he does plow, because he does a much better job than I do, because he's plowed a lot more in his life, you know. But that way I can film it. We'll have the GoPro going, we'll have the other camera going, and then we'll have the drone up, of course. Assuming it's not raining that day, of course. But, so our theory with the garden this fall, guys, and I got to go around the turnips there, because they're still good. They're still good to go. We'll be digging, or not digging, but pulling some of those yet this fall. For some people that we know. I don't eat them. They're gross, but that's another story. So our theory with the garden this fall, guys, is normally we disc or plow heavy in the fall, or disc and plow even, in the fall, and then we go out there and try to plant rye. And our problem with planting rye in the fall is the garden is so loose that it's hard. And here I'm adjusting the disc even more so that back row sinks in even more. So it was still ridging up on me. So our theory is here, and I'm actually going to get through the story this time. So back to the theory. If you guys watch the stream, it's like, so back to the zoo. So back to the theory here. We're going to, or normally we would plant our rye in the fall, but we fight a really loose garden, so we're leaving like not ruts but tracks, and those tracks can fill with water, and then sometimes the rye doesn't come up as well, and it's a whole thing. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to disc first, obviously, since that's what I'm doing. But then maybe the day this video comes out or the Wednesday after, I'm not sure. We wanted to let it sit a little while. In theory, we'd love to get a rain on it, let it dry out, then plow it, but if the weather doesn't cooperate, that's fine. So then we're going to plow with that 314 Massey Harris Ferguson on the 995, of course, which is about all that tractor wants to pull. Only about 65 horsepower there, so that's enough for that tractor. And we're going deep with it, too. We don't plow it 4 inches, guys. We're going to, you know, 6, 8, maybe a little bit more sometimes. We'll be doing some measuring and stuff to see how deep we actually plow. But when we plow, we don't mess around, guys. We put the plow on the ground and get it done. So that's what we usually do. And then, yeah, so we're going to actually plant our, I'm not sure if we're doing rye or if we're going to do oats in the spring. I'm not totally sure. Dad kind of mentioned it, and I'll be honest, I didn't really listen. So it happened. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're doing oats or if we're doing rye in the spring, and we'll get out there early, and the garden will be firmed up by then, because of over the winter you'll get rain and snow and whatnot, and it'll firm it back up. Probably go out there with the tractor and the disc and the harrow on then, and try to do any last minute like leveling and smoothing out and all that good stuff before we plant our rye or oats in the spring, whatever we're going to plant. I think we're going to do oat, since we're going to wait and do it in the spring, but I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. So just stay tuned. You guys will find out eventually. So, but yep. So here we're out in the front part, and Dad's been mowing out here a bunch, where there's not as many gourds. He was mowing quite a bit, and it really does help chop up that stuff for the disc. So, but you can see even with one pass, it's doing a decent job chopping it up. It's not the best, but it's doing a decent job. My thing always with disking is the more speed the better. So I'm actually disking in second gear, about 1500 RPMs. I'm actually rolling for disking. You should probably slow down a little bit, but it just seems to work better when you go a little bit faster with the disc, or at least with this disc in the pumpkin vines here. When you get into like where there's not as many pumpkin vines, you can slow down. It does just as good of a job. But for the pumpkin vines, it's all about the speed for me. So I put that tractor through its paces. And this is probably, between this and plowing, this is the most work that this tractor has realistically ever seen. Grandpa bought this tractor to use it for planting. He pulled his little John Deere planter with it. The guy before him had this tractor for mucking out like a dairy barn. So that's not like hard work necessarily. That's why I had the loader on it. And Grandpa used the loader for everything. But for actual like heavy duty field work, this is about as much as this tractor's ever seen. This and plowing. Of course, plowing, you know, pulling a 314 plow, that's more than this disc. And especially as deep as we go. But it's pretty sandy soil down there, so it works quite well. Occasionally might have to use the differential lock pedal, but that's not bad. Considering we are only two-wheel drive, this tractor handles it fairly well. I wouldn't want to go any bigger on the plow. I wouldn't want to step up to like a 316. The 16-inch plows, 3 of them. 314 is enough. That's enough plow. So it works quite well. So you guys will get to see that soon. Here in, I don't know if it'll be next video or the one after. I'm not totally sure because I'm not sure when we are going to plow. But hey, this has been a nice long video. Started with that pumpkin party. I appreciate if anybody's still watching all the way through, all half an hour in already. I really do appreciate it, guys. But had a lot of footage. So here you can see I have disked a couple times, really trying to chop those pumpkin vines up because the plow and pumpkin vines don't get along at all. So we've tried to go out there and just plow before, and that doesn't work. That just simply doesn't work. So, and we've actually plowed it with our little 8-inch plow or whatever on the little tractor before too. That was a long day. I plowed this entire garden with an 8-inch plow on the 1614 Power King. That was a long day of plowing, but you know what? I had so much fun. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I'd spend all day on that tractor. I'd be all about it. So. But free bottom plow on the 995, it works quite well. It's awesome. And to be honest, it's fun to plow. It is fun. And, you know, maybe some of you guys that are from the city don't get it, but you farm kids, you guys get what I'm talking about. Messing around with this equipment is so much fun. It really is. So you can see here I've slowed down a little bit because I'm trying to smooth out the back of the garden a little bit because I had the disc set wrong at first, where it was really ridging up. So now that I got it set about where it's at, it's a lot better shape. And actually, I think we had an idea after we disked that next year when we go out there and disc for the first time, we're going to set all of our disc blades so they're straight on, so it's not really like ridging dirt up or anything. And the hope would be just to chop pumpkin vines, use them as like knives almost. So I think we're going to try to do that next year. If we remember, of course, but who knows? That's a whole year away, so we will see. But guys, I'm going to get on out of here. This video is just about done. I really do appreciate everybody watching, especially if you made it to the end. Let me know if you made it to the end, because you guys are the real fans that I greatly appreciate. Just saying. So, for more disking, more plowing, all that good stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. Make sure you like for more as well, guys, because the likes do matter. I appreciate them. And until next time, we have to go clean the disc now, and I didn't show that this time. It was pretty bad. Until next time, I'm your boy John from Puma Plow. Thank you all so much for watching. And toodles.